Welcome back to another episode of Flyers Prospect Watch, where we're going to dig deep into the next wave of stars who could shape the future in Philadelphia. And today's slate is absolutely loaded. Now, we don't usually do recordings on Saturdays for prospects. We usually wait till Monday and Wednesday, but Friday's games were so significant that we had to do an emergency show today. So stick around. Jett Luchanko didn't just have a big night. He authored what might be his signature performance of the young OHL season, a 4-point eruption against Windsor, featuring a shorthanded goal and 3 assists, with 2 being primary. This is the exact brand of high-energy, dual-threat hockey the Flyers drafted for, and he delivered it in full force last night. So let's break down the performance itself. The shorthanded goal was a perfect snapshot of what makes Luchanko special. Elite anticipation, superior edge work, and the confidence to attack defenders even when he's outnumbered. He's always been a thinking man's player, reading the ice one beat ahead, and on the penalty kill, he turns that anticipation into transition offense. His burst off the turnover and the finish he put on it, that's NHL caliber pace. But the playmaking was just as impressive. His 3 assists weren't soft secondary touches. They were driving, creation-heavy sequences. The 2 primary assists came off a classic Luchanko strength, skating through pressure, manipulating defenders with body language, and threading passes through small windows. Guelph's offense fed off Luchanko's motor. When he was on the ice, momentum swung. Now, this 4-point night pushes into 10 points in just 6 games, with 2 goals and 8 helpers, despite joining Guelph's lineup late. That's a 1.67 points per game pace. But what matters more is how he's doing it, consistently touching the puck, driving entries, and playing heavy minutes in all situations. It's clear his U18 World Championship breakout wasn't a fluke. If anything, he looks faster, stronger, and more assertive. Flyers development staff wanted him to attack more this season, to not defer, and this game is the best example yet of someone embracing that ask. From a scouting standpoint, the Flyers drafted Luchanko believing he could become a modern 2-way play-driving center. Players who can kill penalties, quarterback a power play, push tempo, and transition the puck under pressure are hard to find. And Luchanko impacts the game in every zone. He doesn't cheat for offense, he manufactures it. And then let's talk about the team context. Guelph is trending upward. They're fast, skilled, and playing an up-tempo brand of hockey that fits Luchanko's strengths. Their coaching staff gives him responsibility early and often, and he's rewarding them literally shift after shift. If the Flyers were hoping he'd make a dramatic step this season, they're getting exactly that. He's driving winning hockey. He's elevating teammates. He's dictating pace. And last night wasn't just a good night. It was a star-level performance. A game where he seized every moment and bent the matchup to his will. If this trend continues, and there's no sign that it won't, Luchanko could finish among the most productive teenagers in the OHL this season. The Flyers have a gem, and he's only getting started. While Guelph stole the spotlight last night, Jack Nesbitt quietly delivered yet another strong outing in Windsor's tough 8-5 loss, adding a goal and pushing his recent hot streak even further. Nesbitt now sits at 13 points in his last 9 games with 5 goals and 8 assists, and he's currently in the middle of a 5-game point streak that includes 3 goals and 6 helpers. That kind of sustained production from a younger OHL player is a major sign of growth. So let's start with Friday night's goal. It came in a game where Windsor struggled defensively, but Nesbitt was one of the bright spots, playing with pace, working off the rush, and generating offense even as Guelph controlled play. His goal highlights what he's been doing so well lately, using smart routes to get open, timing his entries, and finishing with confidence. He's not a player who disappears when the game becomes chaotic. In fact, he thrives in it. This season, Nesbitt looks more physically assertive, more willing to attack the interior, and more confident in his shot selection. Early in his draft year, some scouts questioned whether he'd be able to consistently drive play or whether he'd rely heavily on teammates. Now, he's showing he can create for himself and others. His passing has sharpened significantly, Watch how he delays just a half second longer now, letting lanes open before hitting his target. That's veteran level patience that's starting to develop. And the production spike isn't just random. Nesbitt's skating stride looks noticeably more efficient this year. He's generating speed more easily, allowing him to pressure defenders and extend plays. Combine that with improved puck protection, and suddenly his offensive ceiling looks higher than originally projected. Look, Windsor may not be a powerhouse right now, but Nesbitt's becoming one of their reliable engines, and that matters. Scouts always look for players who rise even when their team is struggling, because those traits often transfer to higher levels. The Flyers value competitive players with pace, adaptability, and strong hockey IQ, and Nesbitt is checking every one of those boxes through this stretch. What stands out most is how consistently he's impacting the game. He's not getting empty calorie points. He's generating meaningful touches, zone entries, forecheck pressure, puck retrievals, and quality scoring chances. His 5-game point streak isn't the result of being along for the ride on a hot line. He's the one driving momentum. Nesbitt's long-term projecting is trending upward. The Flyers likely saw him as a hardworking, high-motor center with middle six potential. But if he continues developing his scoring touch and playmaking instincts at this pace, the organization may have uncovered a sleeper prospect with real offensive upside. In Nesbitt's performance Friday night, in a game where Windsor needed response shifts and momentum swings, Nesbitt showed his maturity. He played like someone refusing to go quietly, and that's the kind of trait that earns coaches' trust and fast-tracks development. He's not the flashiest player in the system, but right now, he's one of the steadiest risers. And next we have Alex Bump, where it's another game, another multi-point performance. The Phantom's 7-3 dismantling of Springfield wasn't just a team win, it was a showcase for young players stepping up, and Bump was right in the middle of it once again. Another 3-point night, 1 goal and 2 assists, brings him to 4 goals and 11 points in his first 13 games this year. For a first-year pro, adjusting to bigger, faster, heavier competition, that's a tremendous pace. So let's break down why this is happening. Bump plays with swagger that wasn't fully unlocked until the tail end of his USHL and NCAA days. But now that he's surrounded by pro talent with structured systems and players who can keep up with his instincts, that swagger is turning into consistent production. His goal Friday night was pure Bump. Quick release, great positioning, finding space in the slot, and striking without hesitation. What's really standing out, though, is his playmaking. The 2 assists weren't accidental. Bump has learned how to manipulate defenders by attacking with pace, then sliding the puck into prime scoring areas. He's reading the ice faster, understanding when to drive wide, when to cut in, and when to feed a trailing teammate. His offensive timing is catching up to his pro speed. This is also a player whose skating has taken noticeable steps. The edge work has always been there, but his explosiveness is improving. Strength conditioning from the Flyers development staff seems to be paying off. He stays on pucks longer, absorbs contact better, and wins battles he wouldn't have won a year ago. Confidence is a theme of this season for a lot of players in the Flyers system, and every goal adds to it for Bump. Every assist fuels it, and after every big game, he plays even more aggressively in the next one. That's how breakout seasons happen, people. In the Phantom structure, Bump has found an ideal role. Offensive driver on a skill line who can both shoot and distribute, and the Flyers are absolutely paying attention. While fans love prospects who put up numbers, what teams really want is growth. And Bump is growing rapidly. His pace, his motor, his offensive creation, his willingness to shoulder responsibility, it's starting to look pro-ready. So let's talk big picture. If he holds this pace for a full season, he could position himself for an NHL call-up earlier than expected. The Flyers aren't going to rush him, don't get me wrong, but they also won't ignore someone that's forcing their hand. Bump has the skill set to become a goal-scoring middle six winger. Strong shot, underrated passing, and competitive effort. Friday night's 3-point performance was another message to the organization. He's ahead of schedule. And when a winger finds his rhythm early in his rookie season, usually means the rhythm's real. Next up, we have Bump's teammate, Denver Barkey, who's been everything the Flyers had hoped for in his first pro season, and maybe even more. His latest performance in the Phantom's 7-3 win over Springfield added a goal and an assist, bringing him to 9 points on the season. And while Barkey isn't putting up the same raw totals as Bump, The way he impacts the game is every bit as important. The first thing that jumps off the screen is Barkey's pace. Some players skate fast. Barkey plays fast. Everything he does, passes, pressure, decisions, it's all accelerated. And in the AHL, where time and space vanish quickly, that kind of pace is a weapon. His goal Friday came from doing what he does best, attacking a seam, beating defenders with quickness, and finishing with assertiveness. What makes Barkey so intriguing is that he's difficult to categorize. He's a playmaker, but he can score. He's small, but he's extremely competitive. He's fast, but he's also smart. His hockey sense is borderline elite, especially in the way he anticipates plays on the forecheck. He's also showing signs of becoming a legitimate two-way weapon. Barkey tracks back hard, pressures the puck, forces turnovers, and he extends plays. Coaches love players who make the game easier for their line mates, and Barkey's already doing that as a rookie. Friday's 2-point performance was earned through work ethic and intelligence. He didn't cheat for offense. He didn't drift to the perimeter. He played the interior, supported the puck, and pounced on opportunities created through pressure. So let's talk development. Barkey came into the AHL this year with questions about his size and how it would translate. But Barkey doesn't rely on strength. He relies on timing, edge work, and relentless pursuit. The smaller forwards who succeed in the NHL, guys like Braden Point or Cole Caulfield, for example, have similar traits: speed, intelligence, and effort layered together. Barkey's not at that level yet, but the blueprint is there. His 9 points might not be eye-popping, but his overall impact is absolutely NHL projectable. He's creating transition offense, he's forechecking like a madman, and he's playing responsibly in his own zone. He's getting stronger every week, too. The chemistry with players like Bump is also encouraging. The Phantoms are beginning to resemble a team that can roll multiple dangerous young lines, and Barkey's at the heart of that transformation. If Bump is the pure scorer of this rookie class, Barkey's the engine. He's the player who drives pace, forces mistakes, and ensures that every shift has purpose. This is the kind of player that every successful NHL team eventually needs. The Flyers have one developing at exactly the right speed. And now we have Porter Martone, the Flyers' 2025 first-round pick. Martone's season just keeps getting louder, and Friday night may have been his most emphatic moment yet. Michigan State's 4-1 win over Notre Dame included 2 more goals from Martone, pushing him to 6 goals and 13 points in just 8 games. For a freshman to immediately step in and produce like this against older, heavier NCAA competition, it's rare. For him to do it with this level of dominance, that's special. Let's start with the 2-goal performance. Martone plays the game with NHL-ready assertiveness. His release is heavy, but also extremely deceptive. Goalies struggle to read when the shot's coming. His first goal showcased that lethal quick strike ability, while the second one highlighted his ability to get open, find soft ice, and finish opportunities with confidence. This is what makes Martone such an exciting Flyers prospect. He's not just contributing, he's driving the offense. Many freshmen take months to find their footing. Martone took about 20 minutes. His blend of size, strength, hands, and offensive instinct makes him look like a player who could become a legitimate top 6 winger at the NHL level, and in my opinion, a bona fide star. Martone protects the puck like a pro. He competes like an animal, and right now he's scoring like one. His 13 points put him on pace to finish among the top freshmen in the country, and frankly, he might be the best winger in college hockey right now. Flyers fans were excited when the team drafted him, but most didn't expect this immediate of a breakout. The big narrative entering the season was whether Michael Misa, who's already producing in the NHL in just 7 games, would be the class's standout offensive talent. And while Misa is clearly on his way to stardom, Martone is building his own compelling case. Look, there's real validity to the idea that the Flyers may have stolen one of the most polished offensive talents in the entire draft. The debate is no longer whether Martone will be good. The debate now should be how good and how quickly. What's most impressive to me is that Martone doesn't rely on his skill. His compete level is sky high. He has that dog in him, if you will. He forechecks aggressively. He wins board battles. He tracks back hard. His scoring is built on habits, not luck. Michigan State is benefiting enormously from his presence. Their system thrives on pace, pressure, and possession. Martone fits that identity perfectly. The Spartans are poised for a strong season. Martone will be the centerpiece of their forward group. This is a player trending toward NHL impact faster than anyone expected, and the Flyers scouting staff deserves a lot of credit for this one. Martone's becoming a star right before our eyes. All right, and that's going to wrap this up. What a night for the Flyers pipeline. 5 prospects, 5 big performances, 5 reasons for the fan base to get excited about what's coming next. If this is the future, it's arriving sooner than expected. So make sure to like, subscribe, and drop a comment on which prospect you're most excited about, because this youth movement is only getting started. In the meantime, don't forget to keep it high, keep it wide. I'll catch you guys next time on HW Hockey.
Thanks for watching HW Hockey. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. We'll see you next time.